Hey guys, welcome back to Troy's Garage. My name's Troy. This is my garage. This is also my new project. I introduced that in the last video. Today, we're getting on this thing in earnest. I'm gonna get it up on jack stands. I went to the Horrible Freight place and picked up 6-ton jack stands. You gotta keep an eye on those sales. I picked those up for 59 bucks. They were doing their Black Friday sale in April. Today's April, what is today? It's tax day. Yay, everybody loves tax day. Anyway, that tells you how far behind I am in editing. I'm gonna get the truck up on jack stands. I'm gonna pull the starter so that I can take a look at the flywheel and see if I can see what's happening there. Also gonna take a look at the top end of the engine and see if I can see where the coolant leak is coming from. I believe I know where it is, but I'm gonna put eyeballs on it to be sure before I ever crank it over. I'm really hoping that there's no teeth missing on the flywheel. I don't want to have to pull the transmission if I don't have to. But it's really oily and gross down in there, so if I have to, it's a good chance to clean everything up and just make sure that there's no additional leaks and whatnot. So with as dirty as it is, it's either because somebody was topping it off more often, often enough as it needed it, which also means that there's a leak. They were spilling it on the top end and it's leaking out the bottom or whatever. It's pretty gross in there. So I'll see if I can get a camera on that so that you can kind of take a look with me as well. But first things first, let's get this thing up in the air. Not a lot of room to work with. Spare tire. Nice. Whew. Well, I got the starter out. Here it is. And just as I thought, it wasn't extending far enough to catch all the teeth. It was just barely, I mean, you can see some of these are busted off of here. The other thing I noticed is when I was dropping it out of there, I don't know if I can do this one-handed or not, but there's something inside here rattling around. Oh, there you go. But I'm going to cross-reference this part number and see if I can figure out if this is the right starter for this. Maybe there's just something wrong with this one. I don't know. It looks fairly new, so I don't know the complete history on whether a starter was replaced or not, but it appears that was the case. Let's cross-reference that part number first and see what that tells me. If it's just the wrong part for this motor, then I'll run over to the O'Reilly's and get the right one. Let's see what that says on the Googles and be right back. Well, just as I suspected, this is not the correct starter for this motor. The 3141A is for the Ford 302, and this has the 360 in it. So the part number that I need is a 3143A. This is an O'Reilly's part, or at least they sell this exact part number. They do have the one that I need at the warehouse. They're going to have to order it over for me. But I'm going to run into the store real quick. There's a core charge anyway. Take this to them for the core charge, pay for the other one, and then have them just bring it to the house when it gets here. So that's the plan for the evening. I am going to take some pictures of the flywheel where this thing's been kind of nibbling at it. Make sure there's not too much damage to the flywheel. I really don't want to replace a flywheel if I don't have to, but if I have to, got to make this thing mechanically sound. That's the bottom line. So I'm back. I went on a business trip last week and I can't remember honestly where I left off on the new truck. I remember telling you that we had the wrong starter. I went to the O'Reilly's, picked up the right one. It's now here. So let's get this in. Before I mean, I really badly want to get started on the interior of this thing, but before I do anything else to this truck, I want to make sure it's mechanically sound. I want to make sure that the engine runs. I can turn it over by hand using the fan belt, the fan, just cranking on it, and it spins fairly easy. No big resistance or anything like that. So let's get this starter put back in it. Let's crank this thing over, see what it sounds like. Check all the fluids before we do that. Make sure that this thing is possibly going to run. Maybe it'll just bark off and run. I don't know. Let's crawl up under there. There's not a lot of room to show you anything. It's replacing a starter. It's up behind the exhaust manifold. So I'm just gonna get it slammed in and then we'll turn the key and see what happens. Yep. Well, that almost worked. Oh, there we go. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Nailed it. Yep. All right, new starter is in. I did have to drill out the bottom hole and put a through bolt with a nut on the backside. That bottom bolt was stripped out, so, or the hole was stripped out, I should say. It just would get no bite. So it now has a through bolt, lock washer, nut, secure as can be. Let's go find the key, open the garage and turn the key and see if we have a winner on this truck. Find out in a second. So if you remember right, when I picked this truck up, there was coolant puddled on top of the motor. The previous owner did say that his father-in-law helped him replace hoses and stuff, and he's pretty sure that the hose, this hose where it connects in the back, just didn't get tightened all the way. So I'm going to take the filter housing and stuff off so that I can see back in there, see if I can see something obvious before I turn the key. Filter's brand new, that's awesome. Anything else connected to that? Nope, just the housing. Alright, how am I supposed to get up in there to see that? Gotta get a taller unit. Well, found out what the problem was. See my little pointing stick? That right there has no hose clamp on it at all. So let's get a hose clamp added to that and cinch down. Make sure that's pushed on all the way too. It looks like it's out at least a 1/4 inch, maybe 3/8 of an inch. Make sure that's on all the way and get a clamp on it. What the? No, that is not. That's not where that's coming from. That's actually the breather tube that goes back in the valve cover. Alright, it's got to be something else then. What else could it be? I might have to turn the key to discover what it is. Okay, well, that's not it. Let's hook up our I don't have any friends button and see what happens when we crank it. Alright, got my loser button hooked up here to the starter solenoid. I did not turn the key, so it's not going to spark and light off. I want to crank and make sure everything turns like it should, and then see if I can figure out where coolant leaks are coming from. So, see what this thing sounds like when it cranks over. Sounds healthy. Not a lot of chatter up high on the motor. And I didn't see any cooling leak coming from anywhere. So maybe what I'll do is I'll just mop up what's still on top of the motor. Give us a good starting point for looking for anything new. There are a lot of leaks down low in this engine though. I think the rear main seal leaks. I believe maybe one of the freeze plugs leaks. It's starting to seep, so which means it's about to blow out. So that'll be fun. Let's get that cleaned up and then we'll turn the key again with some spark and see what happens. Alright, I got the garage door open. This muffler like pokes straight up in the air. It's just kind of all tweaked up in there. But it appears to all be connected. Anyway, got the key. Battery is charged. I also tested that to make sure it was good. Turn signal works. Ooh. That doesn't... We're gonna have to do some steering column corrective activities. Okay, and that little bit of cranking that we did before, it filled up the fuel filter, so the fuel pump is super strong. It's brand new fuel system, new hoses and everything. Honestly, I should double check all that as well, since there's coolant leaks and whatnot. Anyway, let's fire it, see what happens. I may have to run and grab the key and turn it off real quick just to make sure that nothing goes wrong, but give that a couple pumps. And moment of truth. I did not check to see if we're getting spark. I can hear the flux capacitor fluxing in there, also known as the accelerator pump. Alright, we're gonna have to check for spark, because it doesn't sound like it's even trying, and I know it's getting fuel. There is... Maybe I didn't mop up all the coolant in there. That does make me a little nervous though. I'm gonna check the oil real quick. I did space on doing that. Make sure we don't have milkshake going on or something crazy. Pull the dipstick real quick and see. Oh yeah, no, it looks great. It looks new-ish. It's a low. I know it has a brand new filter on it. I'm sure that the oil is fresh. It's just been sitting stale for a while. But let's check for spark. Alright, I'm opting for the non-invasive method first just because it's easy. Plugged in my little inline tester. There should be a light that ignites inside there if we have spark. Let me see if I can get this where we can see it. Alright, keep an eyeball on that and see what happens. I knocked this thing off of here. I was pulling the trigger, nothing was happening. We're shooting blanks up in here, folks. Alright, try again. Okay, well, we're getting spark, and I actually heard it try to bark off that time, so maybe I'll pull the cap, just put my eyeballs on rotors and the points. This is a points ignition system. So let's open that thing up and see what's going on inside there. That's a brand new cap, so we don't have corrosion there for sure. Rotor looks fine. The points are brand new. Woo! And I can hear zapping going on. Woo! Yep, we got hot spark. That's good. That's good, good. Where's the other clip at? You couldn't have gone that far. Oh, you dirty dog. Fell down in there and got stuck. Oh, it's completely wedged in there. And now I pushed it further down. Oh, that's perfect. Oh, come on now. There we go. Well, if that's the worst thing that happens all day, we're set. Assuming the firing order is correct, let's just try this some more. That's definitely squirting fuel in there. Why won't you bite off, thing? Oh, wow, okay, that's loose as a goose, okay? All right, we gotta take 16 steps backwards. We gotta set initial timing. Dang it. All right, while I organize some of my stuff here, let's talk for a second. We are setting top dead center. This engine is supposed to be, I believe, it's a 360. That's the FE block. I'm questioning that a little bit because the previous owner bought a 302 starter for it. I bought the starter for a 360 and that cranks it. So because the cap and rotor are brand new and they put the wrong starter in it, that's really making me question that. So that's why I'm setting top dead center. I can find cylinder 1, make sure that timing is set appropriately. Remember, the distributor cap just spins freely. So setting top dead center. Here's how I do it. There's 15 different ways to do it. Guys will make fun of me for how I do it. That's fine. I don't care. I'm just going to show you how I do it. So here's what you need. You need a 15/16 ratchet essentially. Depending on your fan settings or setup or whatever, you may need a little bit longer extension than that. For this one, I just need a little dorky short one. I need a little sanding block and a paint marker, a light so I can see what the crap I'm doing. This is to get spark plug number 1 out. Got to get that out so that we can validate that it's top dead center. And then this here is what I call a whistling Dixie. You stick this in the spark plug hole, and when it's on its compression stroke, it actually sends a whistle. Kind of like that. All right, so get underneath. The sanding block is for the harmonic balancer. We're going to turn the crank until the harmonic balancer shows us where the markings are. We're going to sand those so that they're easily read and easily visible. On this particular one, it's going to be pretty rusty, I guarantee it. So sand it down just enough to where you can read it really well. And then I'm going to put a big tick mark on the 0, a small tick mark on every 10, 20, and 30, so that I know which direction is advanced. And anyway, you'll see when I get down in there. I can get the camera under there to show you each step of this process as well. Step 1, get that spark plug out of there. Plug number 1. Yeah, I'm real curious what firing order this thing is set to. Maybe one of these days I'll get my scope down in the cylinders as well. Spark plug, we kind of peeked at it last time, but looks pretty good. All right, let's get the whistling Dixie plugged in here, and it just threads in. And it has threads on it for, you know, the wider base style or the thinner base style, so it'll go in just about everything. Lawnmowers and everything. All right, and then this can just sit out wherever. It'll whistle when it gets on the compression stroke. Okay, I've got you guys set up looking straight up from below. This is the harmonic balancer. We're looking for the markings on that. I'm going to make sure I'm turning this the correct direction. You want to be tightening on that bolt so that you don't loosen it. Alright, let's see if this thing will turn. Oh yeah, not so bad. I was afraid I might need a big breaker bar, but oh boy, I'm hitting the... Oof, just dropped a whole bunch of crud in my face. That's perfect. Alright, I'm taking the little extension off. We'll see if we can reach in there with just that. Righty-tighty. Alright, I'm starting to see some markings on it. Oh, somebody's already marked it. Hey, compression stroke. That's weird. We're nowhere near the mark. Hear that whistle? Alright, and this is why I brought the sanding block, because these are hard to read. Alright, so they did have 0 marked. And you don't want to get too crazy with your sanding. Just enough to be able to read what you're doing here. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and mark 0 is right there. There's 10. There's 20. And there's 30. And that is all I'm doing from below. Now, here's the thing. It's on the compression stroke up there, at least it's whistling. Crazy, so let's keep going. Well, it's still whistling pretty good, so that actually might be the compression stroke. So I'm going to go back up top now, and we're looking for the mark, for the timing mark, to be lined up with 0. We're going to actually put it at the 10, because 10 is where it's going to be the happiest. So let's go up top. Alright, let's see what happened with our timing marks down in here. So, if I have I'll just use my finger as a pointer. There's our little timing mark, and it's right over the 0 mark. The 10 mark, the small one, is still underneath it, but at the top end of it. So right now, it is exactly at top dead center, assuming that piston's at the top and both valves are closed. The other reason that I like the whistling Dixie is because on the compression stroke, you can actually take this thing and blow down into the tip of it, and it'll build pressure because compression. And then it'll whistle back out. So let's try that and see what happens. we're definitely on the compression stroke. We've found that. Now I'm going to look up the firing order for the 360, and I did notice this right here. Let me get a light. On the top of this little toolbox that's bolted in the engine bay here is 154-26378. That sounds to me like that's the firing order that they set this at. So I'm going to validate that that is, in fact, the correct firing order and that it's set correctly in here. That's the next step. Let's go. So, according to the Googles, that is, in fact, the correct firing order. 154-26378. These plug wires look to be probably the cheapest that money can buy. So I do want to at least validate that this thing will bite off and run. And then we'll look at doing upgrades or whatever we end up doing. Tune up if we need it, that sort of thing. So I'm going to validate that firing order real quick, and then we'll move to the next step. I'm going to pop the cap and find out which direction it's pointing for plug number 1. They've got numbers written on this thing too. I am going to probably just act like that doesn't matter. And we're pointing off yonder way. And that should be, that's nowhere near any of these. I'm going to pull all these off and just redo them. That's what I'm going to do. I got to know I can trust what's happening here. Well, you guys can't see diddly jack, sorry about that. Let's move you back a hair. Hey, there we go, that's a little more better. Little more better. Okay, I'm just unplugging all these. So that should be number 1. It's actually got a 1 down there on it. It's nearly impossible to see. You'll never see it on camera, that's for sure. Let's get plug wires routed away from throttle linkage, etc. Everything. Okay, so there's number 1. And I believe we go in a counterclockwise method. So to get that to point number 1, so number 1, it's pointed directly at that thing. So right about there should be pretty close to where we want to be. Tempted to kind of lock that in right there. All right, plug wire number 1, where are you? Plug wire number 1 is in. And we go counterclockwise. So 1, 5, and then 4, which is this guy right here. 1, 5, 4, 2. 1, 5, 4, 2. I'm gonna lock this on before I forget to do that again. If you remember, I did that last time. So 1542, number 6. Who does number 6 work for? One, 5, 4, 2, 6, 3. That's this one, and it is too short to reach over there. So that tells me it was probably in the wrong spot. Still questioning firing order. That's good. That means there's potential for that being what the problem was. 4, 2, 6, 3, and then 7, 8. 7. Ooh, whoa, 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 whoa. Hold everything. This is 7. Those, on an FE motor, those two like point at each other, so they were crossed way down low where I could barely see. So this is number 6. Number 6 goes after number 2. Number 6. That's this guy right here. Let's see, I don't like the way that's routed. Let's go this way. In fact, we're going that way, like that. 7, and then this should be 8. Okay, I'm going to double check that crossing thing over here on this side to make sure I didn't screw something else up too. Because that is an easy mistake to make. See? Yep, that's exactly what's going on here. Alright, so 2 and 3 are backwards. Oh my gosh. Okay, 1. Validate. 1 is unplugged. It's the one that goes to number 1. Next is 5. That goes to the front cylinder on that side. Yes, 5 is correct. Next would be 4. Yes. Next would be 3. That is also correct. No, 154, 2. 154, this should be number 2. And it is not. This one and this one are crossed. Like that. And then this one is too short to reach over there and have any adjustment. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna go like this and like this, and then we're gonna switch them down here. This one comes out, this one comes out, goes on there, and this one goes on here. On here, I'm going to put the spark plug back in. Spark plug going back in. 7, yes. 8, yes. Okay. Garage door open. Ooh, gotta turn the key on. Get so excited I forget these things. Key is on. Fire extinguisher is handy, just in case. And lights. Got my I don't have any friends button hooked up. Battery positive lead down to the starter solenoid. I'm going to give it a couple of cranks on. There we go. Ooh. Ooh, she's trying. I do hear it trying to push fuel in there. I'm gonna dump a little fuel down into the bowl, just in case it's not full. I'm gonna, whoops, spill a little down into there, and then let's go. Okay. It's not pulling anything from the bowl from the sounds of it. Unless the bowl is just so empty. Whoop, there we go. Let's whoops a little more down into here. Oh, whoops. Boy, it sounds so good. I want to see what's happening back here at the tailpipe. I don't see a bunch of blue smoke, so that's good. I don't see any rat's nest dumped out either. Oh, there is some mouse droppings down here, but not a huge rat's nest, so. Exhaust makes me sneeze. I must be allergic. Woo. Picked the wrong hobby if that's true. Alright, so we have a fuel delivery issue from the sounds of it. The engine sounds fantastic. Oh my gosh, I'm super excited about that. So I'm going to turn the camera off for a minute and kind of tinker with the fuel system. I may end up pulling the carb. If I do that, I'll show on camera what's happening, but I may take the top end off and just kind of peek down inside there. Maybe it needs a full rebuild kit, I don't know. It's just a 2-barrel, simple carb. They're not super complex or hard to rebuild by any means. Oh my gosh. Sorry about that. So, I think we may have a winner here. I'm definitely excited about this. Kind of bought this thing on the promise that it ran and that it should run. It does have brand new fuel tank. All the rubber lines from the tank forward are new as well. I'm not super excited about where the rubber line is ran, and I'm glad I scoped that out before we started cutting the floor, because it's like right up against the floorboard where I would be cutting. That would have been a problem. So always check that stuff. Safety first. Don't do dumb stuff. Yeah, don't do dumb stuff, or you'll be saying, dang it. 33003. This was clogged up. That was all it was. Didn't even have to pull the carburetor apart or anything. I think the needle and seat were getting stuck a little bit. Oh, dude, that sounds awesome. The needle and seat were getting stuck just a little bit. I just took my wrench and tapped on the top a little bit. Now it's just purring like a kitten. But before I run it too much, I do want to check the oil, just kind of put my eyes on it, make sure that it looks decent. I did check coolant level, and I want to clean underneath as well, because this engine leaks from somewhere. I got to isolate where that leak's coming from. This engine sounds so good that it's definitely worth saving, for sure. That is fantastic news. I'm going all in. I'm going to order parts. I'm going to order interior, do a once over underneath, make sure that brakes are good, driveline's good, carrier bearing, shocks, basically anything mechanical that I need. So the order that you do these things in, or that I do them in, you can do whatever you want, I don't care. But the order that I do things in, mechanical first. Make sure that the thing runs, that it'll move, that it will stop, and it will do all three of those things safely. Next, you do the interior. The interior gets super expensive. It can get out of control fast, but I'll tell you what, bodywork will eat all of your money. So if you spend all your money making it pretty and it doesn't even run or drive, you have a project in the shop that you'll never use. So do the right thing, get it running, get it driving, get it stopping safely, then do the interior so that you can enjoy the crap out of the inside of it, and then you can drive the wheels off it. And then if you get time, you can do panel by panel if you want to. You can do all the body work in a weekend and put it into primer, and then drive it again for months, right? Years. That's the order that I do things in. I end up selling them before I get to the body work. I actually love the patina look on this thing. I'll probably do a Poppy's patina on this. Those are my plans, right? But basically, I'm going to drive the wheels off this thing. I do need to do cab mounts. The passenger side cab mount is down almost a full 2 inches. This side's down at least 1 inch. The back seems to sit a little bit off as well, so I'm going to look, make sure there's not a broken spring or something like that. But mechanical, that's what I'm up against first. So I'm going to get busy, get ordering some parts, and this project is now well underway, and I couldn't be happier. This is awesome. Follow me on Instagram. I'm super active over there. If you want to get a hold of me, that's the best way to do it, is either a comment on a video, but then how am I supposed to communicate back and forth privately? Just send me a DM on Instagram. That's the best way to reach me if you have questions or whatever. I try to respond to as many questions, comments as I can. I read all the comments on YouTube. Those things help immensely. I leave Amazon links down below. Those are affiliate links. Clicking on those doesn't cost you guys anything. You can click on any of those products and do your regular shopping, and Amazon still knows that I sent the business to them, and they give me a small cut. That adds up faster than you think it does, and I put all of that money back into stuff like this, making content for you guys. So if you're into that sort of thing, you shop on Amazon, I would appreciate it. That's fantastic. Other projects that I'm working on. This is a Dodge Charger 2015 police, they don't call it the Pursuit. Maybe it is the Pursuit. I'm in the process of de-deputizing this. He was a sheriff deputy. All-wheel drive, Hemi 5.7. It's the same engine that's in my Ram Rebel that's out there. So, same. This is super fast. That's pretty fast. There goes a neighbor. Howdy ho. This car's not perfect, but it is what it is. This is actually my wife's daily driver. Funny story. She, the way she's explaining it to her friends is that she's living my dream. She enjoys this car. She, more than she admits. Anyway, it's fun. We get a kick out of people getting a kick out of our car. But anyway, follow along. Those are the things that I'm working on. This interior stuff is going to be full bench seat reupholstering. I'm going to kind of go a little bit overboard on the interior. The whole thing's coming out. I'm going to prime and paint, replace rusty floorboards, that sort of thing. Right now, that's my seat. That's what I sat on when we moved this in here. You can see it's got a brand new tank, but I'm going to yank all of this stuff out, sand everything down, do the body work on it, and paint and primer. Primer, then paint. But the interior is going to be spot on. There's the headliner for it. I'm going to build something custom for it that will obviously go up there. We're going to put sound deadener in, so it'll just, you know, just going to kind of spruce up the interior and make it just top notch. And somebody's going to enjoy the crap out of this. Hopefully it's me for a little while, but I'll end up flipping this. I mean, my intent is to enjoy this for a minute, and then I've got plans, right? We're going to roll the money into the next thing and just kind of slowly just do this over and over until I have money to build a shop. That's the goal. So I really do appreciate your support. It means the world to me. Letting me live my hobby vicariously, or you guys are living my hobby vicariously through me, however that works. Anyway, thanks for following along, guys. Appreciate it. We'll see you guys in the next video.